You are in the emergency room of a public hospital at 3:14 a.m. The air smells like industrial bleach and the metallic tang of dried blood. You are sitting on a plastic chair that was designed to be hosable, not comfortable. You have a pain in your lower right quadrant. It is no longer a dull ache. It is a rhythmic, stabbing punctuation. You check your phone. Your bank balance is $412. Your deductible is $5,000. You are doing the math while you breathe. In, out, $412. You aren't wondering if you're dying. You are wondering if you can afford to find out. You are a number on a digital board that hasn't refreshed in 40 minutes. The system at this level is purely automated and built for high-volume survival. It does not know your name. It knows your blood pressure and your pulse oximetry. The nurse behind the plexiglass is named Sarah. She has been on her feet for 11 hours. She isn't being cruel. She is being efficient. To her, you are a non-emergent abdominal pain occupying a seat that a gunshot wound might need in 10 minutes. You are a cost the hospital is trying to process without hemorrhaging capital. The system treats you with a specific kind of automated hostility. If you don't have insurance, the billing department is already generating an invoice with chargemaster rates, prices that are 400% higher than what a wealthy man's insurance would ever pay. The math is elegant in its irony. Because you have the least, you are charged the most. You wait 6 hours for a 4-minute conversation with a resident who hasn't slept in 30 hours. You are discharged with a generic prescription and a debt that will compound at 24.99%. You are not a patient here. You are a structural liability. You have a job. You have a plastic card in your wallet with a blue and white logo. You are something slightly better than a liability, which is to say, you are a unit of reimbursement. You aren't in the ER tonight, but you are in a Saturdays-only clinic because you couldn't take time off work during the week. The waiting room has slightly better chairs in the ER, but the carpet is worn thin near the door and the water cooler is empty. You spend 20 minutes filling out a clipboard with the same information you already typed into the portal. The system is indifferent. The receptionist doesn't look up when she takes your $40 copay. The doctor is named Dr. Miller. He spends exactly 8 minutes with you. He doesn't look at your face. He looks at the Dell monitor. He is clicking boxes to satisfy a billing code that will trigger a level 3 office visit payment. If he spends 9 minutes, his department loses money. If he spends 7, he is optimized. You ask a question about the side effects of the statin he just prescribed. He doesn't answer. He hands you a pre-printed brochure and moves toward the door. There is no relationship here. There is a transaction. You are a small number in a large pool of managed care. The service is polite. But if you disappeared tomorrow, the algorithm would fill your 10:15 a.m. slot before the exam table paper was even replaced. You pay for the account that holds your health records, yet you are the one doing the administrative work. You are a number at this level. Specifically, you are a small number, and the hospital's interest in small numbers is purely automated. Your income is stable. Your direct deposit hits every 2 weeks like a heartbeat, and your premiums reflect your executive status. The hospital notices this, not with a greeting, but through an algorithmic shift in your electronic health record. You have moved into a different behavior category. You are flagged as high-quality commercial insurance. Suddenly, the system starts working for you instead of against you. You don't wait 3 weeks for an appointment. You wait 4 days. The facility is in a better zip code, where the air smells like eucalyptus instead of bleach. The walls are painted in earth tones designed by a consultant to lower your cortisol levels. The specialist is named Dr. Eris. He sits down when he talks to you. He uses your name twice in the first minute. For the first time, the hospital functions the way the stories say it should. You need an MRI for your knee. It's approved in 48 hours. Not because you're sicker, but because your insurance carrier is known for prompt payment and low friction. The system isn't pricing risk anymore. It's pricing revenue. You are a viable revenue source, and a hospital wants to keep you inside their network umbrella. You matter to them in the way a customer matters to a business. You matter as long as you're generating billing events. You would be replaced without ceremony if your company switched to a lower-tier provider. But for now, you are recognized and serviceable. The monthly fees of your life have disappeared into your salary, and you are keeping your health without paying the inconvenience tax of level 1. You are 46 years old. You have built, through ordinary discipline and a decade of corporate climbing, a financial profile that looks meaningfully different to a hospital's risk model than it did at 30. You have $60,000 in your HSA and a supplemental policy that covers the gaps your primary insurance misses. You are a low-risk, high-engagement patient, and the system responds by offering you more of what you've proven you can handle. The pre-authorizations start happening without you making a single phone call. You log into the patient portal and see that your screening colonoscopy is already scheduled. The prep is being mailed to your house, and the estimated out-of-pocket is $0. The hospital is extending you more rope because your history shows you don't need it. You pay your bills on time and you don't miss appointments. The price of health is lower for you now because you have demonstrated that treating you is a safe, predictable bet. When you need a specialist this time, the rate of response is faster. Not because you're sicker, but because your patient value score has shifted the internal priority in your favor. The system begins to tilt in your direction quietly at the level of basis points and preferred access slots. You are becoming valuable to the institution. Not precious yet, but valuable in the sense that they would offer slightly better terms and shorter wait times just to ensure you don't move your records to the competing university system across town. This is the beginning of leverage. Your combined assets are north of $250,000, and your career has landed you in the top tier of what a regional medical center sees on a daily basis. The treatment reflects that. The phone line you call is no longer the general appointments queue with a 40-minute loop of elevator music. There is a priority line for preferred members, which means hold times are measured in seconds, and the person who answers is a senior coordinator. They have more authority to waive administrative hurdles, make internal referrals, and approve same-day diagnostic imaging without escalating to a manager. When something goes wrong, and in medicine, something always eventually goes wrong, the resolution is faster and more satisfying because the person handling it has the tools to resolve it. You are no longer waiting for a return call from a nurse who is managing 40 other patients. A dedicated patient navigator is sometimes assigned. This is where a name contact appears in your phone. Her name is Marcus or Elena. She knows your history. She emails you directly to check on your recovery after a minor procedure. It sounds like a relationship, and in some ways it is, but it exists within a commercial frame. They are attentive because their department performance is measured on the retention of high-margin accounts like yours. Understanding the motivation doesn't make the access any less real. You are a preferred client now, named, known, flagged in the system as someone worth protecting. At level 6, the hospital stops being a place you visit and becomes a service that comes to you. You have entered the executive health program, a packaged version of medical care wrapped into a single, seamless relationship. You don't go from office to office over the course of 3 months. You spend one day in a wing of the hospital that doesn't look like a hospital. The room has better chairs, original art on the walls, and a private bathroom with high-end towels. You are consulted, not just processed. A team of doctors, cardiology, oncology, nutrition, meets with you in a wood panel room to discuss your full biological picture. They aren't looking for illness. They are looking for optimization. The bank, the hospital is trying to understand your timeline and your risk tolerance. The motivation is commercial, but the experience is deeply personalized. Loan, procedure approvals move at the speed of light. The paperwork is non-existent because your coordinator handles the insurance friction behind the scenes. When you have concern about a nagging cough, you don't wait for a 10:15 a.m. slot in 3 weeks. You call your navigator, and you are seen at 2 p.m. that afternoon. No callbacks, no scripts. Someone with actual authority handles it in real time because your account warrants that level of response. You are an asset to the hospital now, not a customer. The language in the internal system is different. The protocols are different. The experience is different. The distance between this and level 2 isn't just better service. It is a different institution operating inside the same building. With over $5 million in investable assets, you no longer use a hospital's infrastructure. You use their discretion. You have entered the world of concierge medicine. You pay a 5-figure annual retainer just for the access before a single tongue depressor is even touched. At this level, the doctor's personal cell phone number is in your favorites list. His name is David. You don't call an office. You text David. The products offered to you aren't on the hospital's website. You are offered access to clinical trials and experimental protocols that are off-label for the general public, but standard of care for you. The interest rate on your health, the biological cost, is lower because you are catching problems at the cellular level years before they become symptoms. The bank. The institution competes for your loyalty because a patient of your profile is a gateway to endowment funds and legacy donations. Your team is not made of generalists. It is a phalanx of specialists coordinated by David. They meet in rooms with leather chairs and no fluorescein. They coordinate your travel, your supplements, and your longevity strategy. You get special treatment, which is a polite way of saying the rules governing standard medicine. The waiting periods, the FDA-approved only restrictions, the one problem per visit policies apply differently to you. The system has built-in discretion, and it is now exercising that discretion in your favor. This is private medicine. It is to healthcare what a charter flight is to first class. At this level, you do not have a doctor. You have a medical officer. This person manages fewer than 10 families, and their entire professional existence is dedicated to your biological preservation. They know your children's genetic markers. They know your foundation's goals. The deals at this level are bespoke. If you need a procedure, the surgeon is flown to you, or you're flown to a private clinic in Switzerland that doesn't have a sign on the door. The documentation that takes a level 1 patient 6 months of fighting with an insurance adjuster is handled internally in 48 hours because the people processing it know exactly whose life is on the line. The system that was automated and indifferent at the beginning is now human, attentive, and oriented toward yes. The rules have become flexible, not because the laws of biology have changed, but because the institution's internal policies have been bypassed by the sheer weight of your capital. You're no longer a patient. You are a relationship. Your health is a named line item in a hospital board member performance review. But here is the final arithmetic. You are 84 years old. You are lying in a bed that costs more than a level 1 patient's house. The room is silent. The air is perfect. You realize the distance you traveled across these 8 levels was never about avoiding the end. It was about buying the privilege of meeting it in a room with better chairs. The balance is $412. It always starts there. It always will.